everyone, this is Neetu Sugandh. In this lesson, we would discuss how to speak on any topic in the world. If you like my videos, you can follow me on this link and do rate, review, recommend and share. So let's begin. Have you ever faced this common situation where you don't know what to say next? So you give out information in a confusing manner. Now, what's the reason behind it? It happens when you don't mentally plan what you need to say. And let me tell you, even the best of speakers cannot speak fluently if they don't mentally plan what they want to say. But then how do you mentally plan while communicating? There's no time. In writing, we get the opportunity to plan and we can rewrite the message. But speaking doesn't work like that. So I say you follow the 3-question approach. So whenever you get any topic given to you, remember these 3 questions in your mind and start talking about them. Start answering them whenever you're speaking on a topic. What the topic means, why it's important, and what are some examples. I'm going to use this particular technique on speaking. I'll be speaking on the topic listening, and let me show you how it works. So what the topic means. Listening essentially means interpreting what the other person is saying. Why it's important. It's important to understand people better. It's important for effective communication. Without listening, it's very difficult to have a smooth conversation with anyone. What are some examples? One example would be if you're listening to me and you can interpret what I'm saying correctly, then you're actively listening. More examples could be like my friends. They don't want to listen at all. So they're bad listeners. So that's a bad example for listening. Even though we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, but for some reason people like to talk more and they like to listen less. However, if we talk about a customer service environment or a business environment or a job interview, we have to listen. It's not just about talking. You have to listen actively so that the other person also feels important. So did you notice how I use these 3 questions to talk about this particular topic? Now, if I did not have these 3 questions mentally planned, then it would be difficult to speak with an organized thought flow. So that's why these questions really help you organize your thought flow. I've even given this example in the fluency section in my book, to help you get more fluent. And then it's not just about talking. It's also about, you need to team up the topic that you're speaking about. You need to team it up with the right intonation, energetic and an expressive tone, and the correct rate of speech. Let's discuss these in detail. What is intonation? Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice while speaking. This is exactly what's going to make you sound human and not like a robot. If you have to see an intonation pattern, it goes like this. That's how your intonation pattern looks like when you're speaking like a human being and not like a robot. Now the question is, how do you intonate? The effective speakers usually follow a very simple, pattern, and these are very common techniques that people use to intonate. You stress the keywords. So whenever you're speaking, the most important words in a conversation, you stress them. And that's why certain words will have more stress than the other. And that's going to make you intonate better. And then you don't stress the weak words. For example, to, is, the. These are not the words that give you the maximum information. So you don't really stress them. However, do pronounce them. Do not eat them up. And then you drop your pitch at the end of sentences. For example, if I'm saying, my name is Neetu, I would drop my pitch at the end. I'll say Neetu. I would not say, my name is Neetu, and just leave it there, without any pitch variation. So all good speakers, they drop their pitch whenever they end a sentence. For example, right now, I ended a sentence. So I dropped my pitch. Effective speakers drop their pitch at the end of open-ended questions too. Now, open-ended questions are questions that give you more information. They usually begin with how, why, what, when, where. So whenever you ask this question, you will always get a longer answer. For example, if I have to say, how far do you think you'll go? Or how effectively do you think you'll be able to speak? So I'm dropping my pitch at the end of the open-ended question. Raise your pitch at the end of closed-ended questions. Now, closed-ended questions are questions that elicit a yes or a no answer. means you will either get a yes or a no from the listener when you ask this question. For example, do you like speaking in English? Do you like coffee? So in this, I'm raising my pitch at the end. I'm not saying, do you like coffee? I'm saying, do you like coffee? Or do you want to speak in English? So remember that at the end of closed-ended questions, you raise your pitch. And at the end of sentences and open-ended questions, you drop your pitch. And this is going to help you intonate better. Now there's intonation even with choices. So effective speakers make sure that they intonate and they use these simple rules. If I have to give a choice to someone, I'm going to raise my pitch at the end of the first two choices and I will drop my pitch at the end of the last choice. The reason being that when I raise my pitch at the end of the first two choices, I'm trying to tell the listener that there's more coming. And when I drop my pitch at the end of the last choice, I'm trying to tell the listener that no more options. So if I have to read this particular question, I would say, do you like tea, coffee, or milkshake? So I'm trying to say, do you like tea? That means there's more coming. Coffee, there's more coming. And milkshake, now it ends. There's no more options. Along with intonation, you need to team it up with the right tone. Let's read this in the wrong tone first, okay? For example, if someone says, I lost my book, and then you say, oh, that's bad news. Now, this is definitely not the right tone for this particular statement, right? So it's very important to use the right tone in the right situation. So if someone's saying, I lost my book, oh, that's bad news. You need to have the right tone. And obviously, when you're speaking in front of an audience, it's important to give tone variations, make it funny, make it energetic, make it very professional. You can even be serious if you're discussing something serious, but you have to give a tone variation. Rate of speech also needs to be taken care of. Now, I feel really conscious when I say this because I myself at times speak really fast. However, always ask yourself a question. Are you going to miss a train in the next 5 minutes? If not, then speak slowly. Now, in India, we have a habit of speaking a little too fast, but we should, slow down our rate of speech. Sometimes when we listen to native speakers of English language, we feel like they're speaking fast. But let me tell you, they speak pretty slowly. They just sound fluid. That's why we think that they're speaking fast. The recommended rate of speech is 120 to 150 words per minute. So what you need to do next is, pick up any book, read something, and try to practice 120 to 150 words per minute. Do not speak more than that in a minute. Another technique would be if you are used to reading, then move to the next level. Pick up any free speech topic. Use the 3-question technique and count the number of words that you speak in a minute. So you realize if you're speaking too fast, then you will want to slow down. If you're speaking too slow, then you'll want to, increase your rate of speech a bit. So while you practice this technique, I'm going to go out hunting for more techniques for you guys. Till then, enjoy practicing. Have a great day. Bye-bye.